Number 10. Chimney John hits a golf ball. And the quadratic function f of x equal negative 8x squared plus 24x gives you the height of the golf ball after x seconds. How long will it take for the golf ball to return to the ground? I'm going to do this by factoring and the quadratic formula. So when we do this, we want to set f of x equals 0 and put negative 8x squared plus 24x. Okay, and I'm going to factor on this one. You never ever want your x squared to start off with a negative. So we're going to divide out the negative. What's the largest number that goes into 8 and 24? It's 8. And both x squared and x have an x, and the smallest exponent would be 1. So negative 8x is a GCF of these, isn't it? You're going to drop your 8x to the left, and now start a parentheses and divide. A negative 8 divided by negative 8 is 1. X squared divided by x is x. So negative 8x squared divided by negative 8x is x. A positive 24 divided by a negative 8 is a negative 3. And then the x's cancel out. Now then when you're right here, you split this up. You can have negative 8x equals 0, or you could have x minus 3 equals 0. Over here, x would be equal to 0. That's when the golf ball is hit. So that's the initial when it's on the ground. And over here, if you solve for x, you would get x equals 3. And that's when the ball hits the ground. So the answer would be 3 seconds, wouldn't it? So the golf ball is on the ground at 0 seconds when it's hit, and it returns to the ground after 3 seconds. Now then I'm going to go over here and use a quadratic formula. I'm going to write down negative 0 equals negative 8x squared plus 24x plus 0. A is negative 8, B is 24, C is 0. Our quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Remember, you find the discriminant first. So we're going to find b squared minus 4ac. Our b is what? 24. So we're going to have 24 squared minus 4. A is what? Negative 8. And c is 0. This is going to make it a little bit easier. All of this is going to turn into 0. And 24 squared would be 576. Minus 0, which would just be 576. So our discriminant, this number would be 576. Now then we're going to go over here, negative. B is equal to 24. So I'm going to replace that b with 24. Put plus or minus the square root. The b squared minus 4ac ended up equaling 576. And then we're going to put this fraction bar all over 2 parentheses. A is equal to negative 8. Okay, now then there's 1, 2, 3 math problems. This right here is going to end up being negative 24 plus or minus the square root of 576 is 24 in it. All over 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. When you get to here, you split it into 2 problems. One with the plus and one with the minus. Okay, so we're going to have negative 24 plus 24 divided by negative 16. And we'll have negative 24 minus 24 divided by 16. Negative 24 plus 24 is 0. And 0 divided by negative 16 would be 0, wouldn't it? That's the same root as this one, right? That's when the ball's hit. Right here, negative 24 minus 24 is a negative 48. This is a negative 16. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 48 divided by 16 would be 3, wouldn't it? Notice you have the same 2 answers, 0 and 3, 0 and 3. So either by factoring it or by doing the quadratic equation, you end up with 0 and 3. The ball is hit at 0 seconds, and it returns to the ground at 3 seconds.